Good afternoon, my viewers. I still remember my humble self, Dr. Ankujo Nuchenna. I want to welcome you again to my YouTube class. So in today's class, we're going to be looking at a very important parasite. Please, I want you to listen carefully. This parasite is a very deadly one, and all over the world is judged to be the number one killer parasite. It causes a disease we call malaria or plasmodiasis, and by extension, this disease is still known as the number one killer disease all over the world. And so, whether you're a medical student or not, it's important you sit tight. Sorry, then understand the teaching about this parasite, understand how it spreads or being how it's being transmitted from one host or individual to the other. So we're going to be talking about this parasite in details. Plasmodium falciparum. Let me say Plasmodium sp. Of course, we will always mention falciparum. Of course, we know in the course of this teaching, we understand that there are so many species of this parasite, though five are popular. The falciparum, malaria, vivax, ovale, dolensi. What we have about more than 156 species of the genus Plasmodium. So let's continue. We're going to start with looking at the classification of this parasite. Now, in terms of classification of protozoa, maybe let me just give a kind of summary of the way protozoa is being classified. The protozoa is under the kingdom animal, as the case may be. It has about five different phyla. The first one is called the Saccomystigophora. The second one is called the Epicomplesia. The third one is called the Pseudophora. The fourth one is Myzosa, the Microspora. Now, because Myzosa and Microspora do not have organisms of medical importance, we don't normally talk about them. Now, coming back to Saccomystigophora, we have the Mastigophora, which is also known as the flagellate. Then we have the Sarcodina. Under Mastigophora, that is where you see those protozoa parasites that make use of flagella or flagellum, as the case may be, as a locomotory structure. You see Trypanosoma, you see Leishmania, you see Giardia lamblia. Then coming to Sarcodina, you see amoeba, entamoeba insolitica. Then the second one is Epicomplesia, which is the one we're talking about. Now, when we talk about Epicomplesia, this is a phylum, the phylum where Plasmodium belongs to. Now, it's called Epicomplesia from the phrase epical complex, or from the words apical complex. That means that this group of parasites have a very complex head, and because they have a very complex head, I wouldn't want to go into details. I would have drawn the kind of head they have and mentioned the different structures, complex structures like the microneme, like the conoid, and several other structures that are found on their head. So they have a very complex head. And because they have a very complex head, that is why they are called the Epicomplexa. Now the class is Sporozoa. The class is Sporozoa. Then the subclass is what they call Coccidia. Then the so yes, the class is Sporozoa. The subclass is Coccidia. Then the order, the order is missing here. Order is Eucoccidida. The order is Eucoccidida. Then the suborder is Hemosporina. Then the family is Plasmodidae. The family Plasmodidae. Genus is now Plasmodium. Then we now have the five main species: malaria, ovale, falciparum, vivax, and nolense. So one thing I want you to understand about this parasite is that is a hemoparasite. I did not say hemoflagellate. It's, okay, it's a hemoparasite. It develops flagella anyway, but the flagella is found only in the microgamete. The microgamete is the only part of this parasite that develops flagella. So the parasite is a hemoparasite in the sense that it lives in the blood. Mm? It inhabits the blood system of man. So by the time we discuss the life cycle, you're gonna see what I'm talking about. Okay, so let's go straight into the life cycle. So this is a sketch. This is a sketch representing the life cycle of this parasite, Plasmodium falciparum. So the first thing that happens is that uh, the vector or mosquito injects the infective stage of the parasite, which is the sporozoites, and few hours after injection of this parasite, the parasites are now being taken to the liver. Now, the sporozoites in the liver, they actually grow and multiply, and by the time they grow and multiply, they develop into what is now called the schizons. Develop into schizons. So mature schizons now, the mature schizons, the sporozoites develop into mature schizons. Now, when these schizons are mature, what they now do is that they rupture the the liver cells, and once they rupture the liver cells, now they are now being released into the red blood cell as merozoites. They are now being released into the red blood cell as merozoites. So now I've mentioned three stages now, from the sporozoites to schizons, and from schizons down to merozoites. And don't forget that the process of forming schizons is what we call schizogony. By the time a parasite undergoes schizogony, a form of multiple fission, which I mentioned in the previous class, then the product of that schizogony is now called schizons. So these schizons, like I said, rupture the liver cells to metamorphose or transform into another stage of this parasite, which is now called the merozoites. Now, why teaching this course? So that students will understand the difference between the two different categories of merozoites. I normally use merozoite 1 and merozoite 2. So the merozoite I just mentioned now is merozoite 1. Now, within the red blood cell, the merozoites, of course, they grow, they multiply, and now transform into another stage, which is called the trovozoites. Trovozoite. 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 Now, these trovozoites now begin to feed on the hemoglobin of the red blood cell. And when it feeds on this hemoglobin of the red blood cells, then of course they become mature and ready for division. This division begins by the division of the nucleus, now being followed by the division of the cytoplasm. So they now divide, the trovozoites now divide, and they divide using that same schizogony, method of schizogony that I mentioned, to form another category of schizons again. Now, these schizons also mature, and by the time they mature, they rupture the red blood cells. They rupture red blood cells, and by the time they rupture the red blood cells, now another uh, schizons, and now they now transform into merozoites, another category of merozoites, and in this case now merozoite 2. So the merozoites are now being released into the blood plasma, no longer the red blood cell, now the blood plasma. Of course, you know there's a difference between the blood plasma and the RBC, that's a red blood cell. I wouldn't want to go into the difference now. That's another lecture of its own. So now, but the release of this group of merozoites, this merozoites 2, is synchronized in such a way that they are being released at a definite interval, which now accounts for what we know as paroxysm or malaria bout. They are being released at definite intervals. Is a coordinated activity. Now, once they are released into the blood plasma, then of course the erythrocyte cycle continues again. Meanwhile, I did not mention that. Okay, maybe after this explanation, maybe I can clean the board and write it. Now, the next thing that happens is that mosquito, when next they have a blood meal on the same individual, it's not every time mosquito bites that it deposits the sporozoid. Sometimes as it's biting, it's now picking up the the merozoites. Now, the merozoites will now transform into two different stages: the microgametocyte and the megagametocyte. Microgametocyte and the megagametocyte. The microgametocyte and the megagametocyte. The microgametocyte is the male gamete. Then the female gamete is called the megagametocyte. So when next mosquito, you know, you know has a blood meal or goes to have a blood meal in that host, then it now picks up the micro and the megagametocytes. And by the time they are picked up, then of course in the this it now results to now what we now call sengame. So in the stomach of mosquito, that is where the mega and the microgametocytes will now unite together. Of course, the microgametocyte now divide into free flagellated gametes. They become numerous and of course begin to locate the megagametocyte. By the time they unite together, they form a zygote. Now, this zygote transform or metamorphose into what we now call the motile okinete. Then the okinete, okinete, okinete. Okinete is also equipped with the apical structure, because I forgot to say that it is not all the stages of Plasmodium that is equipped with this apical structure. Those invasive stages are the stages that are equipped with the apical complex. Now, this okinete, now being equipped with the apical complex, penetrates the stomach wall of mosquito. And once it penetrates it, then it goes to now form oozes. It goes to now form oozes. Oozes, okay. The oozes mentioned here. So, like I explained, the male and the female unite, gamete unites to form a zygote. A zygote. Then this zygote, of course, develops into uh, the okinete. Develops into the okinete. Then, sorry, yes, I said the zygote. The zygote, once a zygote is formed, then of course it transforms into an okinete. Then the okinete will now penetrate the stomach wall of mosquito, forming what we now call oozes. Then inside these oozes, we now have several sporozoids, which of course go into another form of multiplication. And any multiplication that occurs after sexual reproduction has occurred is called sporogony. Then anyone that occurs before sexual reproduction is called schizogony. I think I've explained this before. Now, once the sporozoids are formed and are mature, sorry, once the sporozoids are formed and are mature, then they break from the oozes, then begin to spread to different parts of the body of the mosquito, especially because there is high concentration of these sporozoids in the saliva, so that when next the mosquito bites, or goes to have a blood meal, then it can easily transmit the parasite into another host. And one area where this sporozoites does not always spread to is within the ovary of the vector. So this is just an outline of the life cycle of Plasmodium. So there's something I wanted to say. We can also categorize this life cycle into 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 three stages. The first one is called the